All right, Shane, I will introduce you in Estonian actually, so you can't hear me butcher it.
That's okay.
No, actually, I can do it in English as well. So today we have Shane Oglo speaking with us and to us. He's also a speaker at our Amazon conference. Right now, we have more than 200 people coming to the Amazon conference. So there's going to be several seven-figure, multi-million-dollar sellers speaking, sharing their experiences. There's going to be interesting topics from launching and ranking. There's going to be topics about exits, financing your business, doing launches with PR releases. That's what Shane is going to be talking about packaging, talking about biohacking, lots of good stuff that's going on. And today is actually the very last day to get the discount ticket. So if you haven't got the ticket yet, right now is like the last moment to do it. COVID numbers are looking really good in Estonia, going down like really sharp. So we're going to have the event live, and there is actually 11 places left in the audience. So we have a cap limitation from the government. So there's only 11 places left. Well, yeah, 10 and 1 places left.
Physical spaces.
Physical places left. It was full already, but we sent out a survey of people who wanted to change, and some people changed their position from audience to the web conference. So now there's 11 more places applied. Coming live is the absolute best experience because you can actually talk, network to the people, and form your own groups and circles and form bonds to actually talk with other Amazon sellers that can actually support your growth. But now to Shane. Shane is probably the oldest, not literally, but in Amazon terms, the oldest seller that we have speaking in our conference. He's been selling on Amazon since 2013. So he's like a really old timer, almost 10 years of Amazon experience here. And what's really great is that he already on his first year selling, he did already over $1 million of revenue. So that's actually a pretty significant achievement, because we always look back to the days like when it used to be easy, like pre-2017, pre-2018 and so. But you have to look back, like back in 2012 and 13 and so forth. There weren't really any teachers, there weren't really any guides, intros, videos, how to do this stuff. So you kind of had to figure this stuff out on your own. And he managed and did over $1 million in sales in his very first year. He's also trained thousands of sellers. Maybe you have heard of the quite popular Amazon training called Amazing Selling Machine. So he was a participant, a speaker there in the part 4 and 5. So and he's actually still conducting monthly trainings there, if I'm not mistaken. No, not anymore. So my intro is wrong. But today he's co-founder in the PR agency, PR Reach, so which basically does content marketing for Amazon sellers, and they do it through video, traditional press releases, and other like hacks to help Amazon sellers launch and rank higher through actual legal tactics. Because as we know, search, find, buy, it's getting harder and harder every single day. So on the conference, he'll be sharing his best bits and pieces about press releases. But today we'll talk about editorial guides, gift guides, some case studies, why search, find, buy doesn't work maybe so well anymore. So let's take it away then with Shane.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And yes, I probably should. I don't know if I give you an old intro. I actually stopped doing. I used to do a monthly show for Amazing, but that ended about a year ago, maybe a little bit more than a year ago. So I don't do anything with them anymore. But yes, thank you very much.
I do have your intro from a year ago when you first decided to come, but our conference was canceled back then due to COVID. So.
That's right. That's right. I forgot about that. That's true. Yeah, a lot has changed in the last year, hasn't it? In so many different ways. But yeah, and I think at your event, I'm going to talk a little bit more. It's funny because everybody gets confused between press releases and PR. They use the term interchangeable because PR, right? But press releases are a tool of a PR agency. So I'll be going a bit broader than just press releases into more public relations and earned media. But that's all very, very cool. And today, yeah, like I said earlier, we can talk about anything you want, but I think that a couple of the interesting points that, and I think what you said you'd send out to the members was editorial recommendations. And I'll also talk about offsite articles, which are like a cousin to that. And we can talk about gift guides. I mean, gosh, we can talk about anything. I just love talking about this stuff. So just want me to dig in or what?
Maybe for the introduction, we can just start on the topic that, lately, whoever is more active in Amazon space knows that search, find, buy. This is a method that you use mostly for ranking for different kind of keywords. That means that you find somebody who is going to search for your search term, they're going to find your product, they're going to put it to the basket, they're going to purchase it, right? This has gotten pretty dangerous. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit what's going on with this launching method and why it's no longer safe and why should we be using other methods now?
Yeah, I think that we haven't used it's been at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years since we've stopped using the lower end services. And by that, I don't mean to disparage anyone, but there's inexpensive services out there where you pay, $3, $4, $5, $6, $7 per rebate, and they use a pooled group of buyers. This was a fantastic idea when it came out, 4 years ago, whenever it was, worked like gangbusters. Well, maybe a bit longer than 4 years ago. I don't remember, but it worked very, very well. We knew it wouldn't last that long. Hacks like that never do. It did have more longevity to it than I suspected. But here's the problem: is if you're using a pooled group of buyers, Amazon knows exactly who they are. It's child's play in terms of AI. It's literally a kid in grade school could program how to pick up on those patterns, especially if you're giving them a keyword or two and you get a whole rush of people typing the same darn keyword. I mean, it's an obvious pattern. So what happens is also these companies have two sides to them. They've got a retail side and they have a seller side. On the retail side, they're advertising to people, hey, get free stuff or get it for 90% off or whatever, deal seekers. Okay, that's fine. You don't want those people as your customers. And they advertise on the seller side, hey, move your products, gain ranking, all that stuff. So we know how the system works. The problem is that these buyers on the other side now have such low quality buyer scores, you get very little juice out of it. You have to move a lot of units to get any juice, and you're typically going to fall straight back down. But now Amazon's taking it to the next level. They know it's manipulation. It's artificial. They know it. You run the risk of getting your account suspended. You're almost certainly run a high risk of getting your account review blocked or sandboxed. We've had that so many times happen up until about 2 years ago. We stopped using those services altogether. I've tried every one you can imagine. There's a service or two out there that has, they're much more expensive, but they've vetted their group of buyers, and that's a better thing. If you're going to go with a pool group of buyers, go with that. But Amazon still knows exactly who they are. And the reason why I know that is because they've still been review blocked. So again, maybe they're doing slightly more elaborate search, find, buy patterns. It's still a no-brainer. I belong to a group who I can't really talk about, but Amazon is tracking stuff on a level people have no idea what they're doing. They're tracking mouse movements. They're tracking so much stuff. These pooled groups, they can't. I don't think they're going to be around that much longer. Even what we're doing, we have our own rebate system. But we do is we only advertise. But we have about 12 different add to cart, search, find, buy patterns, and then we mask about half of it, sometimes less, sometimes more, with social signals. So we make it look like it's coming from Google Ads or Amazon DSP or Pinterest or Insta or whatever. That's been working very well for us. But even that model that we do, I kind of feel like in 2 years, I don't even know if we're going to be doing that ourselves, to be perfectly honest. All I can say is stay away from the low price, those ranking rebate groups. Stay away, avoid it like the plague. It's not worth it. The higher end ones, I use it sparingly. Use it as a tool. It shouldn't be your main launch method. And back in the day, so you go to there's so many tools out there, but I don't know, like Helium 10 or whatever, it doesn't matter. There's so many tools which say, oh, you need to move X amount of units for this particular keyword over, whether they use 2 weeks or 10 days or whatever they're using. We haven't done that in well over a year because it's completely unnatural.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're a company and you've got a list of 100,000 people or something and you do launches all the time, fine, no problem. That's probably a normal pattern. We tend to change our strategy to a 3-month strategy. We use the first month to determine what the heck we're going to do. So in the first month, we'll do more of a drip campaign, 2 a day, 6 a day, 12 a day, whatever's relevant for that keyword and for the seller and their ability. And then as we get into week 3 and 4, we decide what we're going to do in months 2 and 3. We let the data coming back tell us what to do. Sometimes you get stuck keywords that just won't budge. Other ones do really, really well. So we just adjust accordingly. And that's how we do our launches. And it looks a lot more natural. Yes, it doesn't get you to the #1 position in 3 days, but we don't really want that. Unless you've invented a better mousetrap and you have something nobody else has and everybody wants, that's a different story.
Okay.
But
So to ask a follow-up question on this, so what, like you already said, what you consider like a low cost option to do like a launch service. So what are, like you mentioned, more the higher cost services, not what they are, but how expensive they are.
Sure.
And what you should expect, like let's say you do a launch with you guys as well, what would be the budget even to do
Yeah,
it?
I think what we're doing is on par with some of the other groups that use vetted groups, and there's only a couple out there. And we charge $15 per rebate, unless you're trying to move a supplement. Then it's closer to, I think we charge 23 per supplement, because you can't even give those darn things away half the time. So, and that's just the way it is, right? I mean, what can you do, right? We all know supplement space is so big and so profitable, but it's so competitive. And there's so many products out there flooding to those people. So that's why we, certain products, you can give them away like, oh man, like people want them like wildfire. Other ones you have to really incentivize and you have to do 100% off. But we have other ways of augmenting launches now. So that's only one little component versus I think a few years ago, some people were just using that as their primary launch strategy. They just do giveaways and that was it. And that's cool if it was working, but you had to know that was going to change. Just like whatever we're doing today is going to change in a few years too. So yeah, I'd say, kind of $15 for normal products and somewhere in the 20s for supplements would sort of be a normal price to expect.
Okay, I wanted to jump back just a little bit for some of the people who are listening and wondering why some customers are not really so good for them to buy your products, and why do you want to avoid them? Is it connected to that people are simultaneously in many using many different coupon services, and they've been asked to leave a review, which is a review manipulation, and it is super dangerous? Do they have like any other characteristics that puts a customer score down, and you don't want to, you never want to sell to these kind of customers?
Yeah, and a lot of those people who are in those on the retail side of those groups are also in the like Facebook freebie groups, and those don't exist as much as they used to. But Amazon identifies them because they're always using these 90% off coupons or getting stuff for free. And now they see as soon as a product goes out on one of those networks, boom, during, even if they stagger it out during the day, they're still seeing that flood. It doesn't look normal. It's all the same keywords. They're tracking the movements. It doesn't look like a natural search, find, buy. Me going onto Amazon, typing in an exact keyword and purchasing a product is not a natural search, find, buy. I don't do that if I'm looking for something. I'm looking at different keywords. I'm looking at different products. I'm going in and out. Like I don't make a decision unless I'm buying clothespins or just something so boring and so plain. So yes, these buyers eventually they're Amazon recognizes who they are, so their qualities, because Amazon knows what's going on. They know they're involved in ranking manipulation, so their score goes down. The other thing is these people are never going to be your customers. You don't want them as your customer. They're never going to be an ideal customer. They're just looking for free stuff. If we look at like some of these sophisticated, I'll say Chinese groups, but there's groups all around the world who do this, but I think the Chinese were very, very good at it. And they've had them for years, is they all have 10, 20, 30, 50, 100,000 fake accounts. but every single one of those accounts will have a very specific profile. So this person fits a profile of, a 43-year-old mother of two who likes yoga, this, that, and the other thing, and they don't deviate far from that. So while they might have 100,000 profiles for any particular product, maybe only 5% of those people or 15% would fit within those confines, and they don't go outside of those confines too often. So they keep these profiles very much intact, very hard to detect.
Pretty crazy. So if we promise to talk about more about like the editorial recommendations, I think this is super interesting. Guys, if you don't know what editorial recommendation is, that when you let me kind of try to visualize that for you, that if you open Amazon, you type in like women's jeans or something, then first row, unfortunately now it is all Amazon PPC spaces, and now we noticed, the first slot is actually like a selection from our brands, which is the Amazon brands. Amazon has taken the first position to themselves, and this completely pisses me off. Then comes a 3 PPC positions. So above fold, whenever you open anything, you just see only paid media spaces, and then comes the maybe an organic row, and then comes editorial recommendations. What is editorial recommendations, and can you write it yourself?
Yeah, so editorial recommendations, like you said, is that spot. It's usually above the fold. Sometimes it gets closer to the middle of the page, depending on the category and the marketplace. But it's basically a written review of your product, or maybe 2 or 3 or 4 products by a trusted third-party authority. All those third parties are part of the On-Site Associates program. So it's basically like an affiliate program of publishers within Amazon. No, you can't write it yourself. Otherwise, there would have to be a disclaimer on there that it's basically like a paid ad, right? You have no control over what is written. So there's a couple of interesting things about editorial recommendations. Number one is when we place someone in editorial recommendations, it usually bumps up your PPC and your organic sales. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Well, the first one is you're taking up a whole chunk of real estate on top of Amazon. Great. So there's 4 places you can appear, right? You can be organic, you can have a headline ad, or I think they call it brand ad now. You can have PPC, and you can have an editorial recommendation. Wonderful. So that's just one more spot you can take, and it's the biggest spot. So that's going to get you more attention, more clicks, hopefully more traffic and sales. The other thing is it's only a 24-hour cookie. So if I'm looking at the editorial recommendations, and on the left-hand side, or if you're looking at me, left-hand side over here, you can read the full article. So here's an article about tents by a certain tent company or outdoor magazine or blogger or whoever. So you click on, you can read the article and think, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. I read it. When you come back out of the article, if you're appearing anywhere else on that page, people will often click it. Maybe you're organically right above the editorial recommendation, maybe a PPC right there. If they click anywhere else, you're not cookied by editorial recommendations. Only if you click on the product link within the editorial recommendations are you cookied. So that gives you a little bit more leeway, and it's only a 24-hour cookie. So if I do it on Monday, I come back on Wednesday, unlike PPC, which is a few days, you're not cookied, right? So that also helps give a bit of a boost to the organic and the PPC rise in sales. Now, the US is getting more saturated with editorial recommendations. The UK is a wide open field. So if you're in the UK, you need to be there. Now, most marketplaces have editorial recommendations now. We've seen it roll out quite quickly. We knew it would. But if you're sort of first to market for particular keywords, I've seen like a 900% increase in sales over 3 months. Now, is that going to happen on a category which has editorial recommendations already, for a year? No, don't expect that to happen. You can see an increase. I think it's important. The thing is with our cost structure, you're basically paying just over 15% ACoS if you want to look at it that way. I mean, that's brilliant. That's wonderful. I mean, who wouldn't want that? 15, 16, 70% ACoS. But how the process works is there's one more thing I'll mention. First of all, your ASIN has to qualify. So you have to have over 100 reviews. You should have a 4-star or higher. Should be in the top 20% in your category, okay? And your seller account should be doing at least 20 to 30,000 a month in total, not just for that product. So it isn't appropriate. Yeah.
Can you say those?
Brand.
Can you say those again? Can you repeat those?
Sure. There's one thing I'm going to add to it too. So you should have 100 reviews or higher, 4-star rating or higher, top 20% in your category, and your seller account should be doing 20 to 30,000 a month minimum in total, not just from that product. If you've got 12 products, total monthly revenue. There's one more caveat that I'll throw in there, and this has changed recently. When you submit your editorial recommendations to us, we can submit up to 3 keywords that you'll show for. We don't have, Amazon has the final say on that. We usually get 1 or 2. All 3 of those keywords you should be on page 1 for. And this is, I'm going to say it's applicable for everywhere, but especially for the US, because if we get you placed for a keyword and you happen to be on page 2 or 3, Amazon's just not going to put it in rotation enough, and you're going to be disappointed in the results of the article. So we basically just said, no, now it's getting too competitive. Make sure you're on the first page, and Amazon will give you a fair shake. They'll put you into heavy rotation for that keyword.
So just to interrupt and ask a few more details, we had a brand that had got Amazon editorial recommendation just recently, and we were like, whoa, where did that come from? So if I think back, we qualified for 100+ reviews. Definitely, it was a new product though. Definitely was 4 stars or higher, accounted the necessary sales or so. But how do they pick it? My product from all the other ones that are in there.
Yeah. So here's how that happens, or that can happen organically. The problem when it happens organically, not a problem, but you have no insight as to what the hell's happening. You don't know how many sales it's generating. You don't have a bloody clue. This is an affiliate play by the publisher. So if I'm a publisher, I've got a camping magazine, a super popular camping magazine, and I've been accepted into the On-Site Associates program, I'm going to look for different camping products that I can make some money off of. I'm not choosing a product with 3 stars, brand new, and it's buried on page 18. It's not going to happen, right? I want to make some money. So I want to talk about products that are probably already on page 1, already have some social proof, and there's lots for me to dig into, because when we submit your article, if I pick it up as a publisher, there's no input. We can't tell them, focus on the blue feature or the Velcro or focus on we're waterproof and the other guys aren't. They're not going to do that. It's completely up to them. They're going to use all the information on your product detail page, including your reviews, to construct their articles. So some people say, oh, Shane, damn it, I got some bad reviews about this, that, and the other thing, or we fixed it, or are they going to talk about that? Maybe, but here's the thing. As an affiliate, I'm not going to write a damaging article about your product because I want to sell your product, right? So a lot of times you'll see, here's, 5 pros and 2 cons. And the cons are kind of like a good 3-star review, right? They're not, people are going to be like, oh yeah, it's no big deal. Generally, they're not going to slam the article. So that's how that works. So basically, here's the process. We submit your ASIN. Assuming you it qualifies, we submit your ASIN. We find a publisher appropriate. So if you're selling camping products, we're not going to put you in a health and fitness magazine. It's probably not going to work, or a beauty magazine or something, or supplements, right? Well, there are no supplements right now. We can talk about that later. Anyways, we find you an appropriate publisher. They write the article. It can take them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. Dealing with publishers is ridiculous. It's like herding cats. It's very frustrating. But once they write the article, then we submit it to Amazon for their approval. The whole process usually takes 1 to 2 months, closer to 2 months, in my opinion. Sometimes it'll, maybe 5 or 6 weeks it'll be done, but 1 to 2 months. Once it goes live, we notify you. We give you dashboard access, so you can see every sale, whether it came from mobile, desktop. You can see the keywords, how often you're rendering for certain keywords, and how often. Then we maintain your article. And that means that basically we're monitoring it each month to make sure it's rendering well. So let's say you come out and you're rendering for the best waterproof tent was the keyword. Okay, great. And you're getting 52% of the time your article is being shown for that keyword. Cool, that's great. If it starts to go down, and sometimes it'll happen after 3, 4, 5 months, there's a reason why. So the typical reason why is Amazon wants to test some other things. We can refresh it. We can put it right back on top of the Amazon A/B split testing pile. No problem. Worst case scenario, we'll have the article written if it's a bad article, or if there's maybe a material change to your product. So let's say you change your packaging, or you added a bonus thing into the new product. It looks different from the editorial article. People are like, is this the same one? I'm not sure. And your conversion rate goes down. We'll get the article rewritten. And there's no extra fee for that, because we maintain that ASIN and parent ASIN. So conceivably, we should be able to keep your editorial recommendation there forever, as long as you don't run out of inventory and your BSR doesn't get pounded into dust. There's no reason why we can't keep that editorial recommendation there. Now, here's the really cool thing, unless you have a question. You look like
you can go ahead.
I do have a question.
Okay.
So why can't I just go and look in my niche, all the keywords, who are the people who've been writing those editorial recommendations, and write to them myself? What would be different?
You can, and people have. I'd say you got about a 1 in a million chance of having someone even respond to you. A few years ago, it wasn't around. When it first started, I heard of some people getting the odd article up that way, but I really haven't heard of anybody since. I'm not sure if they'll even respond. You could try it, but it would be a long, slow process. It's like me writing to GQ magazine to get my article featured. Do you think they're going to respond to me? No, they're only going to respond to a PR professional, unless you've invented a better mousetrap and you're like, oh my gosh, guys, you can be the first one to see, like maybe that, I don't know. But do you even have the right address? Are you getting to the right person? I don't know. So that's not an economical way of doing it, although give it a try.
All right.
But the
So
thing
the
is,
special,
you won't get any metrics, just like getting picked
Okay.
up organically. And if it declines, because it will decline over time, Amazon will test other things. We've got no way of putting it back up. So maybe you'll get a few months out of it. Not worth the effort, I don't think, especially at such a low ACOS. So there's also something called off-site articles. Off-site articles are exactly that. They're off-sites. They're not on Amazon. And this is a much larger publishing group. You have to qualify to be in it. And some of the on-site associate publishers are in the off-site too, but not all. And basically, this is every month, we'll put your ASIN onto this list and submit it to these off-site publishers. Some of the off-site publishers are bloody big too, like Wirecutter, got Digital Trends, Best Reviews. There's so many big, well-known review sites. Some of them, probably have millions on their list. I don't know, huge. And we will submit that to this big spreadsheet that goes out to publishers. So publishers every month are going to look through and look for things they can promote. Again, it's a pure affiliate play for them. That's all it is. They just want to make some money, right? You don't have the same qualifications, number one. They don't care if you've got 100 reviews, 20 reviews. If they think it's a cool product, or maybe it's new and it's trendy or hip, they'll promote it. Like, they don't have the same. And every publisher is going to have its own standards. Who knows what they are? They're publishers. Who knows? But the more social proof you have, the better the chances. The other cool thing is that number one, there's certain categories you can't get an Amazon editorial recommendation for, like supplements or keto or CBD, dog bark colors, anything that would cause possibly controversial to any sensitive person out there in the world, they're not going to touch. So you can't get into. Now, there is a rumor that Amazon's going to start opening up these categories sometime in the very near future. When that happens, great. But until then, if you're selling, vitamin C serum, you're kind of up the creek. There's not much you can do. Offsite,
Okay, so there are no articles on those topics?
No, the only caveat is in case you can be in the grocery category. So let's say MCT oil, maybe that's a good one. If you're listed under the grocery category, then maybe we can get an article for you. But if you're under supplements, it ain't going to happen. No.
Mm-hmm.
So these publishers, so that's the first thing is there's restricted items. You can move through the publishing group. Not all publishers would take that, but you do have a chance of getting published. The second thing is you can promote offers. So let's say you've got a coupon for the month of June or July or something, like a coupon you can put right into Amazon. You can advertise that. And the cool thing is the publisher will pick that up. You might get picked up by more than one publisher too. They can send that out to their group. So they kind of look like the hero offering the discount to their members. They will do email ads, they'll do newsletters, they might do mobile push notifications, they'll take out Google ads. For them, they just have to look at the risk reward. Are they going to spend money on Google ads for, your product sells for $3.99. Maybe they can sell 1,000, but it's not really, a lot of bang for your buck. If you've got a super popular, trendy, seasonal item, boom, they'll probably put more weight in behind it. It's kind of this, I'm going to say free advertising, but because you're paying them a commission, but it's unique advertising that you couldn't otherwise get. And we're driving that traffic back to Amazon. We were also driving traffic to your Shopify site, for example. But we've slowed down, almost stopped that right now. And the reason why is you have to have an affiliate program set up on your Shopify site, and the publisher has to buy into that affiliate program. So it was getting hard to make matches. Here's the dirty little secret. Nobody on Amazon, I shouldn't say nobody, 99% of people on Amazon don't know what the hell offsite articles are. Most people who are doing killing it with offsite articles don't care so much about the offsite sales. I mean, that's great. I mean, you want to have sales, obviously. What's happening is this high authority traffic and sales is ranking their products organically. It's pushing their product up. The organic rankings, increasing their organic sales. And that's what gets most people excited, because you're paying a 15% commission. Okay. I've got people who they sell high volume. They're only doing 12% profit margin or 17% or 20 or whatever, low profit margin. They're like, I don't care if it's a wash. If I can get 500 sales or 200 sales or 50 sales or 1,000, whatever that number is for their product that's appropriate, if it's all coming back to Amazon, I'm going to make that up, plus on the organic sales. It's kind of like this halo, kind of like when you run a lightning deal, maybe at your cost, but you get a whole bunch of organic sales. So that's one of the most effective ways of using offsite articles. The caveat here is that with offsite articles, so with editorial recommendations, it's probably about an 80-85% chance we'll get your ASIN placed. If it qualifies, it's almost guaranteed. Not quite, but we'll probably get it there. With offsite, we only got about a 30-40% placement. So if you submit one ASIN to me, we could go 3 months without getting you placed. We might get you 3 placements in 1 month. Who knows? A lot of guys, if they've got, let's say, 12 products, they'll put 3 in rotation every month. They'll put 3 there or something. And, over the course of a year, maybe it'll average out where we'll get those, 1 placement a month or something.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. So yep. The question that I get naturally by now is, so what's anything like this going to actually cost me? Because, obviously it isn't for free unless I do it, which is also not free if I put a lot of time into it and nothing really happens. So yeah. Like, I guess there's 2 questions in here. How much does it cost? And at what point in the launch should I do it? Like, should I start getting ready already when I have 50 reviews, and once 100 hits, I'm there right away? Or should I not even think about it until I have my first 100 and top keyword positions?
Well, with offsite, we can submit your, so what we do is we actually submit both for one fee. So every month, any ASIN we have under our Amazon editorial wing, we're also submitting to offsite. But yeah, I've got people, I've seen articles posted and they have less than 100 reviews. Those are just guidelines, really popular, kicking butt. They've only got 85 reviews. I've seen it go. So those are just general guidelines. So don't be too strict there. But the biggest problem is you got to be on page 1, that especially for the US. Otherwise, we're just going to be disappointed. I think that's a really important thing. I would start looking at it right away. Again, the process takes 2 months, but I really wouldn't submit until you are pretty darn close to those qualifications. I think that's just a good idea. The cost, it's cheap. It's cheap. I don't know why everybody doesn't do this. We don't charge you unless you get placed. It's $300 a month. So once you get placed, so you submit your ASIN tomorrow and we get you placed, on July 20th or something, I don't know. Then we start charging. So it's $300 a month and 15% GMV, which is gross merchandise value. So if you sell 1,000 units in a month and 50 of them are from editorial recommendations, and you're paying 15% on those 50 units. Because it's 15% and because there is a monthly fee. So let's say it depends on your product and price. Let's say that averages a 17 or 18% ACOS. When you factor in the $300 a month, it's nothing. It's nothing. I'd love to have my PPC campaigns that low and be effective. It's not like you're paying for nothing. We used to do a larger one-time fee to go through the major hassle of finding a publisher, getting it written, submit to Amazon. We said to get away, do away with that. So it's just one fee, $300 a month. We do your editorial recommendation and we submit your ASIN every month to offsite articles. If you only want editorial recommendations, you don't want offsite, or you only want offsite, it's $200 a month. Simple. Plus 15% GMV. That 15%, that's how the publisher is making money, right? It's an affiliate play for them. And of course, we monitor and maintain your ASIN. Now, that's per parent ASIN, okay? Let's say you've got two variations. They're probably going to do the editorial on the most popular one. And in 4 months, you do something to change your packaging. We're not going to charge you again if we rewrite that article or we refresh it. You just, it's per ASIN, that fee. Here's the other thing that we do, strategy. Let's say we get you your article for best waterproof tent. Now we're going to go after, best kids tent, or I mean, a different primary keyword. That's probably not the best example, but we'll try and get another editorial recommendation. Why not lock up 2, 3, 4, 5 of them? If we can, there's no extra fee. It's just $300 a month and 15%, as long as it's for that under that parent ASIN. And that's a strategy we use to strangle out all the keywords.
So essentially, since the GMV is 15%, and there might be some extra margin that's left over for you, but essentially you're buying like property on the first page, and to increase your sales velocity when you're on top of page 1, maybe you're not exactly the highest, maybe you're on page 10. So it could be a good tool to maybe go to position 3, 2, 1, just kind of climb up, use all the resources there are to kind of start climbing up. Is that kind of like correct understanding?
Yeah, even if you're at the bottom of page 1, as long as it's page 1, Amazon's, now you got something at the top. And of course, this is a good time to maybe use rebates and just push it up there a little bit. Just when you're going through the application process, artificially push it up if you need to give it a little bit more juice. Editorial recommendations has its own algorithm. It's a very simple algorithm, and it's a very slow algorithm. We can type in the exact same keyword. You're in Estonia, I'm in Andorra, some in the United States. It might show a different editorial recommendation depending on your location, your purchasing, and your browsing history, as you'd kind of expect. So we basically, we can spike that algorithm is what I'm trying to say.
All right. So meanwhile, if anybody has any questions, put them in the chat regarding editorials, gift guides, or search find buy rebates, whatever the question is, put it in the chat, and we can ask it from Shane as well.
One other thing I'll mention, Mikael, is there's another benefit which nobody really talks about. Is there's a SERP benefit, like a search engine ranking benefit, because if I'm a publisher as an on-site associates program, and let's say that's the only place you have you published, let's even talk about off-site, I'll often put that same review that I have on Amazon on my website. A lot of those websites, I mean, not anybody can join the on-site associates program. You have to qualify. If I go to Google and I type in best waterproof tent, that website might have a pretty good domain authority on its own. You might start, your product might show up under their article, right? Again, driving some off.
That's actually a really good extra benefit to have. Also, the next thing I'm thinking right away, what do you think of the idea if I screenshot that the editorial recommendation from Amazon, so everybody would understand this from Amazon, and they put it on my website and say, hey, we're also in Amazon's editorial recommendation, so Amazon recommends us.
Yes.
That would be a good social proof idea to do.
Yes, and if you have a blog, do a blog article, but if you have a press release, then point the press release links over to it. We create this huge web. I mean, that's what we do on the PR side. I don't want to get into that because it'll get complicated, but that's how we promote, that's how we build brands, real brands. And you can start with just that simple editorial recommendation. And there's so many things you can do with it. Don't just let it sit there, use it. If I get you published in Martha Stewart magazine or something, oh my God, use that for a freaking year. It should be in the bottom of your email signature and your newsletter, like just use it, advertising everywhere. It's that social proof, that trust and authority.
Yeah,
completely agree.
Yeah, so can you tell us a little bit more about the gift guides as well? Sure. What they are, how they work, who should use them, why to use them, and what do the details of it look like?
Yeah, the gift guide's a cool thing. It's kind of like a scaled down little brother version of our PR and earned media package, because our PR and earned media, we're going out there, we're trying to get you on radio, television, magazines, like it's for brands that want to stop being just an Amazon brand and become a real brand. That's obviously not appropriate for everyone. If you're just starting, it's completely not appropriate for you. If you're only doing 20 grand a month, it's probably not right for you. But what we did is we created, this was actually something we were doing within our PR program. We still do, but we pulled it out because it's applicable for anyone. We're not going after tier 1 publications. I'm not going to be able to get you into Cosmo magazine or Vogue or GQ or something. That's not going to happen with these gift guides. With this gift guide service, every month, we're pitching you to 50 gift guides and bloggers. A lot of them are micro influencers. Some of them might only have 800 or 1,200 followers, but they have a really high engagement rate. We've worked with them for maybe a year, 2, 3, 4 years, depending. Some of them might not have the biggest blog, but they've got a really nice social following. So you get some benefits. But the point is we're getting you into these gift guides for that external exposure. Again, some people have really high domain authority. So you type in best waterproof tent, boop, you might show up in some of these listicles or gift guides or blogger mentions. Plus, they have their own audience, which hopefully will be driving external sales and traffic back to Amazon, because ever since the A10 update at the end of last summer, Amazon now puts more weight and authority on those outside traffic and links than they even do on PPC. That's why outside traffic is so damn important. And again, it's part of building that authority and trust and being seen everywhere. So, not every gift guide is going to knock it out of the park, right? I've done gift guides and not one sale. I've done gift guides and knocked it. The point is we do it cumulatively. So it's a 6-month term we do it for. And the reason why we do it for 6 months is a lot of gift guides are annual, but like a holiday gift guide, they only do one a year, but it's a big deal. So while we're trying to get you into these bigger guides, we're going to knock off all the low-hanging fruit that we can. So each month, we're going to try and get you in as many as we can, 1, 2, 10, 12, whatever we can do every single month. Do. But if you don't apply for those big ones in the holidays, by July, sometimes maybe August, you're not getting in. Like, you have to get in early. So that's what we do, is we're just trying to get you placed. It's external traffic, it's external authority. And just like with offsite articles or editorial recommendation, hey, that's a great blog topic to link to. That's a great press release topic to link to, and just use that and share it in your social media and do all these things. We find the cumulative effect. Like I said, if we get you published in 6 different or 3 different, things in 1 month, 1 or 2 of those guides might not generate a lot of traffic, but it is authority. You are getting some SERP love. You will start to see an increase in sales. And we see that over time. And it's appropriate for, even if you're a brand new seller, brand new, you got 1 review. You got to start somewhere. Don't expect your conversion rate to kill it. Of course, it's not going to kill it. Some people might come over and go, That's life. Until you get more reviews, there's not much you can do about it. But it's not just for bigger sellers looking to really grow their brand. It's for smaller sellers too, just to get that little trickle of outside traffic and authority, and hopefully we can get you some bigger guides and turn that trickle into more of a stream.
So when I compare these 2 options that it's possible to do for marketing purposes, what would you think is more effective?
Well, the gift guides probably would be more effective because the offsites are great. You're not paying for offsite unless you're getting sales, right? I mean, it's covered under the editorial recommendations. It's all 1 fee. We only have a 30 to 40% placement rate. Again, you could go 3 months. We might not be able to get you a decent placement with offsite articles in November when you really want. When people are just searching and they're going crazy for it because of the holidays. I don't know. Again, everything we do, we try not to focus on short-term tactics, here today, gone tomorrow. We're a long-term vision. Can we have some great short-term results? Yeah, sure, sometimes. We're looking at the long-term. And that's what all these things do. They have that cumulative effect. Ideally, use them together. I think everyone should be on editorial recommendations if you qualify. It's kind of insane to me now. It's like saying, don't do any PPC or any other thing. You're fine with just an organic listing. Okay, well, it's fine. You want to think that, but I don't agree with that.
Can somebody take away the editorial recommendation from me? Like if I have it right now under my listing, like what can happen so I lose it to somebody else?
So that's a really good question, actually, because it's a first mouse gets the cheese scenario. For any given keyword, Amazon will have to have up to 5 editorial recommendations. That's it. It'll have 5 in rotation for that keyword as of right now. The only way to get displaced is if yours starts to suck, and they'll sometimes throw another one into the mix to test it. And that sometimes we'll see a decline. So we need to put it back on top. So if you get organically placed, you've got no way to stop that from happening. Once you're there, it's kind of hard to dislodge you. Once it's full, it's got 5, get in a waiting list. You might not be able to get in. Like even if like right now, like crock pot or like there's a specific term for it. Those cooking pots, you throw stuff in, you turn it on, leave it on all day. Anyways, there's no way I'm going to get you into that editorial recommendation. That's been full for a year. We can try every now and then. You might be able to get in. That's why it's so important to get in first, especially in like the UK marketplace, for example. Remember when I said you can submit up to 3 keywords? We'll often get 1 or 2. In the UK, you might be showing for 9 keywords, like even keywords that don't even really make a lot of sense because there's no other recommendations there. So Amazon's going to show you far and wide. As that gets busier, you'll notice that gets narrow and narrow as you would expect. So yeah, to answer your question, you're better to get in first versus, I'll come back in a few months and look at it. Hey, you might not be able to get in. So
that is really time sensitive, and US, you could be already too late, right? So now you should be looking to EU.
Yeah, there's still plenty of opportunity in the US. There's just certain categories I know are already full. And super, like, if you want an iPhone case or something.
But what happens, like, if in my category, I don't know, I sell like some kind of curtains, for example, and I don't notice any articles on my category, like, what's going to happen then?
Yeah, so Amazon, no, we can try to get one for it, but there's lots of keywords that they just won't render for. Clothing is a really notorious one. Now you can there's some, I think I looked at like women's yoga pants the other day. I was on a call with someone, and yes, that is there's an editorial rendering for that. But if I'm looking for women's autumn warm sweater or something, might not show anything. And the reason why is fashions change too much, and they don't want to have something temporary. So clothing can be a tough one for some products. Again, anything controversial, like I had someone who sold a dog training collar, gave a little shock. No, it's not rendering. Yeah.
Alrighty. I'm just going to plug in that you are going to be speaking your best tips on outside ranking on 12th of June. This is a Saturday. It's going to take place in Tallinn during Amazoni Aasta conference, a yearly Amazon annual conference. And we're still hoping maybe you can fly in. If that's not going to be possible due to COVID, then you are going to be participating online, taking all the questions online. So whoever is interested in outside traffic, which Amazon now really accounts as super important ranking fuel, then you definitely need to hear Shane talking. I think it's about 10, soon it's 10 days only. It just seems so crazy because the conference has been postponed for so long. So I kind of need to pinch myself. Are there any like final tips you want to give to for some beginners who are listening? Like when should they be thinking about outside traffic? Like how long should they wait until they work on it? How to get started?
Yeah, I think for new sellers, it's important to get it right away. And whether you're just doing some light Facebook ads or Instagram or, just those little dribbles coming in, and that's all you can do right away. You don't have a lot of social proof. You can't expect a lot. It helps. Don't break your budget on it, because I think you'll be disappointed. Those things take time to develop and hone in, but easy wins, like the gift guide, or even if you're doing it yourself, you're doing influencer outreach on your own. It's tough. It's really tough sometimes. Even that 1 or 2 placements a month, that helps. It starts to build a foundation, just like doing social media. You need to have some kind of social proof out there. You don't need to do them all. You don't need to have it perfect and professionally managed necessarily when you're starting, but just start to lay a foundation, have some activity. Don't expect it to make a difference. But in 1, 2, 3 years, as your brand grows and grows and grows, that foundation you'll build on. The other thing too is leverage that outside traffic as much as you can, or that XYZ person, blogger mentioned you. Oh my gosh, wonderful, wonderful. Don't just say, oh, that's great, and forget about it. Again, you write a blog about it. Thank you. Put it in your advertising, as seen on XYZ blog, or we're recommended by so-and-so, emails, newsletter, whatever you have, use that. Now, obviously, if it's just a small blogger, it's not a lot, but it's something. And then when we start getting, if you're working with us or a different PR firm, whatever, when you start to get those bigger placements, again, you can squeeze juice out of those for a year or more. We probably don't have a lot of time, but we'll talk more about other things later at your event, because otherwise I'll go on for 10 minutes.
I know you have some really interesting case studies and things. Those are going to be left for the conference, for the people who are going to be joining us.
Mm.
So whoever doesn't have a ticket, get it now. We only have less than 10 spaces at the moment left, because some of the seats have been taken during our webinar already. So go ahead and click on the link that I posted on the chat. Michael, do you have a final question for Shane?
I don't. I'm just looking for those case studies and other ideas and things how to deal with outside traffic. It seems like outside traffic is something, and making those new branding things work for you. It's been something that's been talked about at least 5 years that I remember, but I haven't really seen anybody get it to work on a really high level. So I'm very eager to learn and see, how that actually works to really get it going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the one thing really important to know is that you can't expect this to change your business overnight. That's not how that works. Building that authority, that trust. Yes, you can get some nice short wins from some nice outside traffic coming in and pumping up your organic rankings. Wonderful, great. But in terms of that overall outside traffic, outside authority, search engine rankings, authority, that takes time. That takes time. And it's just one of those things. And that's why it's usually for more mature, developed brands when they're ready to make that tier 1 push. Hey, you want to get in magazines or on television shows? Okay, fine. You can compete with the big boys, but you don't have to pay 300 grand for placements like they're doing. We have different ways of doing that for free. But when you're starting off, just getting those little bits of outside traffic, making sure you share them on your social media, and just being active and building that foundation is really, really important. And that outside traffic will help. Even if it's the odd sale here and there, it will help.
Okay, so Kenno asked the question as well, but Egle said that I think you covered the answer already. So, but just really quick, if you like with 2 or 3 sentences, if you're like a new seller, how do you start even branding, or should you even do it at all?
Yeah, no, you should. I don't think it's ever too early to start. Now, your brand is going to go through evolutions over time. Things are going to change, and that's okay. That's normal. That's natural. If you're with us, we can do something like our blogger outreach or gift guide and blogger outreach and get your products placed right away. If you're on your own and you're like, no, I can't do that, then do that yourself. I remember I used to create this stupid big spreadsheet with hundreds of names on it. I'd just manually search for gift guides and magazines. I'd send out, so I eventually got smartened up and I got a VA to do it. Maybe get a 1 in 100 response rate. It's painful. It's time consuming. It's not profitable. Every now and then you will get a placement though, and you'll be like, yes, I'm vindicated. It is great. And sometimes you'll fluke it off. If you've got a fantastic product, hey, getting it out there to expose to people, it might get picked up by someone. Fantastic. And that's what it's all about. But if you're just selling a silicone spatula like everyone else, but you just happen to have a red handle instead of a blue handle, don't expect the media to go crazy over that. In that case, we need to develop your brand and your brand story, unique voice. That's a different angle. But when you're just starting, don't worry about that. Just get a little bit of sales under your belt, start that brand foundation, those little wins, those gift guides. You can use platforms like Thomason, or there's so many of those influencer platforms now where you can find people who maybe will do it for free in exchange for a gift, or $10 or something, or $20. I mean, who knows? You don't have to. I wouldn't start off paying $500, $1,000 or more for each placement with an influencer you don't know, and you don't know if you're getting any return from. But I think it's important to just start to take those steps to get that outside traffic, and you can do it on your own. You can do it with someone like us.
Shane, Kenno asked, what was the name of the platform? Thomason? Can you spell it? How it's
Thomason. It's Tomoson. I just think of that because they've been around forever.
Thomason.
There's so many platforms now that do that, but Thomason is just one I know off the top of my head. BuzzSumo is a great place as well, to find people in your niche. BuzzSumo.
Alrighty. Thank you so much, Shane, for your time. Our 60 minutes have passed so fast. You are going to be with us in 12 days. Can't wait for that. And whoever is listening, please join us. It's going to be epic, definitely. Thank you so much. And if nobody has no more questions, then let's finish up for today and continue our super interesting conversation about how to get more sales from outside Amazon on 12th of June in Tallinn. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.